Hi, this is Sammi Palinkas, and you're listening to all my new music, including my latest single, The Lies I Told Myself, with Hank Jr. on Hank's Corner.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Hank's Corner. You know who I am, Hank Jr., part of Hank Jr. Productions, where I'm documenting life's moments through photography, videography, and, of course, podcasting. And guess what? We get to virtually travel back down under to the land of Australia to talk to one of the new favorite artists that I have that's coming out there. She comes from the likes of like Brianna Dinsdale and a couple of other ones that I've been talking to of Australia. So please welcome all the way to this side of the world, Hank's Corner, Sammi Palinkas. Sammi, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, and thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. And of course, anytime I do anything with artists in Australia, it's a little bit of a logistic figuring out moment. And, when we record this, like you've already finished your day, I'm barely starting my day. So how was your day?
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. I'm a little bit further south than Brisbane. I'm actually in Victoria, so we are like
Wow.
the bottom end of Australia. And the weather here has been a little bit wild. Like we've had some of the hottest April days that I think we've had in a very long time, and some of the weirdest ones. So the weather's like one end to the other. So it's always a surprise at the moment.
Yeah, and that's funny because, of course, being in Australia, you're going the opposite direction that we are. But here in Florida in the United States, I mean, it's always hot. So we're going from, cool to hot. You're going from hot to cool, but the same day it's hot for both of us. So we'll just take it as it is. And I'm definitely excited about talking to you because you've got a lot that's been going on. I mean, this year you're releasing a whole lot of songs that have been coming out. You spent some time out there in Tamworth earlier this year, and I kind of want to hear a little bit about that because I'm always fascinated by that festival you guys have down there.
Oh, look, it's such a great festival because I mean, Australia is a little bit different to the US, I guess, in some ways. Like, so much of country music in the US centers around Nashville. I've been to Nashville so many times. I've been fortunate to go quite a few times now, and I love it there. And it's all in one place. But in Australia, we're all really spread out. Like it's quite spread out. So the opportunities for the community to get together with the fans, the musicians, and the industry, like all in one place at the same time, is a lot rarer, I think. So Tamworth's one of those wonderful times where everybody comes together to support each other, and you actually get everybody in the same location at the same time. So it's pretty amazing. It's got a great vibe, and just to see everybody come together in that way at least once a year is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I definitely love seeing the photos and stuff from that. I think I would love to get to it one time. It just looks like so much fun. And, you said that a lot of people get together there. So who are some of the people you were looking forward to seeing this year there and that you got to, rub elbows with?
Oh my gosh, I think like the community is pretty tight, and I mean it's been a couple of years for me now, and just getting to know people and being able to walk down the street and being like, hey, and everybody knows who you are and you know who they are, and it's kind of just really nice. It's very familiar, and we all hang out backstage together. And the community of artists in Australia is one thing that I think makes it really special. Everyone's really supportive and accepting of one another. So when you get together and you do see people, it doesn't really matter who they are or what caliber they are. Anyone will sort of give you a hug and say, oh, hey, it's great to see what you're doing. I've been watching you and you're doing fabulous things. So it's always nice to catch up with people like, the Wolf brothers and the Kernigan family are a wonderful family. They've been a great support of mine for a very long time. So it's always nice to see the wonderful Tanya Kernigan and Lee as well. And yeah, look, just the community is a special thing. It's nice to see everybody. There's not really one person I sit there and go, oh, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing them because, it's just really nice to see everybody, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, being that it would be the first time that I get out there, I definitely have a lot of people on the list that I would like to see.
Oh,
And I think if I do come down to Australia, that's going to be the time. And, one of the other artists that we had on the show kind of early on, we're around 160 episodes so far. And I think he was, the going towards 100. But Paul Costa down there, he's a great guy, and he talked about if I ever do come down, he's going to cook some stuff on the grill. So that's two things that I'm definitely looking forward to: is him cooking for me and Tamworth, and seeing all of you people out there, because I think it would be so fun to do so. And you got to play out there, correct?
Yeah, I played a fan zone set. So they have a bunch of stages set up, and I did an acoustic set with my wonderful producer, Rod McCormack, in the middle of the square, which was absolutely sensational to do in really, 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 really hot weather. So it's always at a time of year, Tamworth, when it's like in the peak of our summer, and because of where it is, it's like, I don't know, 100, 110, like it's pretty warm. So I got to do one in the middle of the square. It was really, really fun just to see everybody get involved in it, and it was really cool.
Yeah, you definitely have to hydrate for those shows, and but not just that, but didn't you do some headlining this year?
I had my first headline show actually in Melbourne when I came back, which was pretty amazing. So I went to Tamworth. It was kind of a whirlwind actually. So I left with my family. We drove up. It was like a 12-hour-ish, 13-hour drive from Melbourne to Tamworth. We stopped overnight and did the, country pub hopping on the way up, which is what my dad wanted to do, which was amazing. And we stayed up there for a little while and then came back. And then like within a week, I shot the brand new music video for my single at the time, What This Woman Wants. And then I went straight into rehearsals for my first headline show, did my first headline show here at a venue called George Lane in St Kilda, which was amazing, and then just went straight into the single. So it kind of just didn't stop. It was only like this weekend that's just gone past where I think I finally stopped and went, oh, I can relax for 5 seconds. This has been a whirlwind. So,
and that's what I alluded to at the beginning of the show, is that it has been really busy for you, and you've been all over our New Music Friday post, including the most recent one where you had this song called The Lies I Told Myself that was just out. And tell us a little bit about the song.
Oh gosh, yeah. So The Lies I Told Myself. So my album has been a bit of a journey, and The Lies I Told Myself is another little life lesson, and that's what my album ended up being, was just a bunch of little life lessons I'd learned sort of over the last 5-10 years. The Lies I Told Myself is one that's probably a little bit darker than some of the other things that I've written. I wrote the song with Rod McCormack, longtime collaborator, Nashville-based songwriter Sally Barris, and myself. And it's basically the lies I told myself about love. So debunking all of those things that we've learned over the years, all of the little things that people tell us that we grow up with, that when you actually fall in love and you experience love for the first, second, third or fourth or 500th time, you find out is not quite how it should be, and everything from, things as little as, butterflies being a good thing can also be, your body telling you that something may not be as right, or the fairy tale ending that, the white prince comes in and sweeps you off your feet. It may not be that way. Love might just be really easy and simple, and it may not be the huge fairy tale that we're all taught. So this song is a really different song for me to write, and it's an interesting one musically. It was inspired by Lainey Wilson's Wildflowers and Wild Horses. It's a song we're loving going into this particular write, but it's a song that I think is more about sort of the realistic areas of love and where you actually find yourself rather than where you imagine yourself being.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, let's go ahead and play your most recent song here on Hank's Corner.
If I had $1 for every counterfeit offer, maybe I'd buy my own damn ring. If I had an ocean for every promise been broken, I'd be drowning, and that's a sea that I won't swim. I was told fireworks at first sight could turn something wrong into right, and those sparks that fly would always be enough. I was sold on dreams of fairy tales. I was told
back to Hank's Corner. That was the lies I told myself, and that's perfect because we're going to get into some truth and the lies in a second. But Sammy, we're here with Sammi Palinkas down under, and you're talking about this album. I mean, because this is a huge production for you. I know some people will throw out a single here and there, and then they'll work on an album. But this is what you're doing right now. You have this album that's out, and it's a huge project. And how has that been for you as far as the undertaking of it?
So before we get stuck into that, just the album's probably coming out July 21st, just so you know.
All right. Well, we'll definitely be looking forward to the actual full album to be coming out. But yeah, tell us about this album that that you've been working towards and everything, and how much of an undertaking it's been, but how much fun it's been.
Yeah, so I started working with Rod McCormack, it would have been like in October 2022, I think now. And Rod is a great musician, a great producer, a great songwriter. And I've been fortunate to write with him and a bunch of Nashville songwriters that we both know. And when we started out, we kind of just wanted to put me in the music. Rod had listened to 50 or 60 songs I think I'd written over the years, everything from, my time in pop many, many, many moons ago, right through till now. And when he sat down, he had one consistent note against every song, and it was that, I was a very capable singer, very capable songwriter, but he listened to the songs and he didn't hear me in them. So we kind of had this little mission, I guess, when we went into it, to write a whole bunch of songs where people could actually get to know who the real Sammi Palinkas was. And I'd had a big 5 to 10 years of learning, just so much life experience crammed into such a small amount of time. And so we thought telling those stories would be something that would give listeners an opportunity to get to know me. But I also wanted to tell those stories because I found when I actually spoke to people about them, that everybody had their own version of the same story. So I felt like they were really relatable things to talk about. And so I felt like for the first time in a very long time as a songwriter, I actually really had something to say. So we'd kind of written for 3 months, and then I went up to Rod's studio, which is on the Central Coast in New South Wales, which is, kind of like Nashville to Texas, I guess. And when I went up to record, I think we'd recorded 2 songs and we were aiming for a single at the time. And he said to me, he sat me down on the 3rd day and he's like, I really think we should be making an album. He said, I think we've got something that's a bit special. I think you've got the story to tell, and I think we should do that together. And so I had to think about that for all of 2 seconds, Hank, and sort of went, well, I think that's a great idea. I think we should do that. And so we started writing songs with that in mind. And that's been a 2.5-year journey to get to this point where we're now mastered with 15 tracks that basically tell all those stories and all of those little life lessons I've learned. And when we set out to write it, we never actually set out to write it like a whole stack of little life lessons. It just kind of ended up being that. And I think the last one was my last single of 2024, which was No Settlin'. And that was the song that for me just kind of finished the album. It was the song where I said to Rod, I feel like the chapter's closed now. No Settlin' felt like the biggest life lesson of them all. So that ended up being the title of the album. So the album, when it comes out, is called No Settlin'. And yeah, it's full of those little life lessons. But gosh, it's been a really big and beautiful journey to actually get to the point where we've got 15 tracks that I'm super proud of and really kind of sum that story up.
Yeah, and that's what I'm all about. Those that know me, I got a completely different full-time job that has nothing to do with this. But on the side, I'm doing the photography, videography, and podcasting because I want to be able to tell a story. I want to be able to tell or have other people be able to tell their stories, through the podcasting, through the videos and photos and that sort of thing. And that's why the second section is always about, get to know that. And it's great when I see that and other people when they do that with their albums. Because I know some people that are just like, oh, these were 10 great songs, we put them on. But those that think it through and say, hey, there's a reason behind these songs that are going on these albums. And I love that it tells your story. And we wanted to make sure we told that here on Hank's Corner.
Well, and the other thing is too, I reckon we've probably written 50 songs to get to 15. We took the job seriously. We didn't just write a song and put it on the album. And before we recorded things over the last 2 years. We've recorded track by track, but we always had that end goal in mind. Once we sort of found that direction, I think it became really important for me to go, okay, right. Well, now we know we've had 3 or 4 singles that all say all have something in common, really, really strong thread in common. It was really important for me that we stuck to that. And it was very funny because when we were playing, like No Settling was the last song, and I was like halfway through that with Rod and Sally, and and I said to Rod, I'm like, oh my gosh, I think the video clip for this, I have to like light a house on fire. Like I want to light my dream house on fire. And I think him and Sally looked at me like I was nuts. But that spurred like this whole visual campaign for my album. So that came about at a time when actually I think I'd just come back from Tamworth and I'd done a red carpet where everybody told me I kind of looked like Western Barbie, which was kind of funny. And so I kind of took that idea and ran with it because I was like, I'm determined not to become just another blonde country singer. Like I want to leave a mark. I want to do something different. And so what we then did is once we had all of the tracks for the album in mind and I had this like idea to, light this house on fire, we wanted to kind of create this like doll's housey kind of fun concept where we shot 15 visualizers, 15 sets of press shots, 15 acoustic videos, all with a different color, all themed within that sort of doll's housey Western Barbie theme, and take all the songs on a bit of a visual journey with that too. And so in August last year, once we had the album in early stages of mastering, we actually spent 2 full days. So I had like, I think it was 16 sets and 19 costume changes, and we shot 15 very simple music videos. And so then the music videos we've actually created off the back of those visualizers have all been themed along with the storyline that those visualizers are trying to tell. So it's been a really like insane but cool thing to be able to do, to sit alongside the album that's just a little bit different.
Yeah, and as a photographer, videographer, you are a photographer, videographer's dream. I mean, watching that stuff that you guys come out with, I mean, it is just so fun. It's just so visual. I mean, you're throwing knives in the mix. You're throwing fire in the mix. You got all these great sets set up. Give us a little bit of background, like who is coming up with these visual things and who's doing your photography, videography for you. Plug them.
So I actually came up with all of the visualizer concepts. So I had we laugh in my team, my little team of people that I've got sitting around me, because, it takes a village. We laugh, and my nickname is Spreadsheet Sammy because I love a spreadsheet. And I learned very quickly, like the best way to scare a group of creatives is to put a 12-tab spreadsheet in front of them in Microsoft Excel, and they go, oh my God, give me the pictures. So with that, I created this spreadsheet. I had every song, I'd allocated every song a color. And my gorgeous god sister, Georgia Kane, who is a singer and a curve model, and I sat down and I walked her through this idea, and we brainstormed a whole stack of sets to go along with it. But I basically had the basic story of every song. I'd allocated it a color. I'd given it a scene, and then, George helped me with a couple of the ones that I was missing. And then we went and we actually created the sets. But before I created the sets, and I love a bit of technology, I'm really into tech, I actually used an AI tool to mock up the scenes. So in using AI technology, I had all of this visual storyboard that I created, because I can't draw to save myself. Like it's horrible. So I used this tool to mock them all up. And it's quite funny because if I showed you the pictures and then I showed you the sets that we actually shot on the day, like we were walking into the pictures like it was insanely real. It was scary. And so when we did it, we basically had this all created. So Bonnie Jarrett from Bon Creative, who is a longtime collaborator, when I was first putting this together and I had those AI grids and everything mocked up and this whole idea in store, I took it to a couple of people. And the thing that Bonnie said to me when we were chatting about it, I'd done a test photography shoot with her and she'd done a beautiful job. I was really happy. She'd worked with Georgia before. And the thing that sold me is I told her about this insane idea I had to shoot this in 2 days. And she said to me, she goes, oh my God, wow, I really love a big project. And I was like, well, you're hired. That's it. Like, that's all I need to hear at that point, right? And so Bonnie jumped on board. Jester as my makeup artist, who is a beautiful, beautiful woman and so good at her job. She jumped on board. Long-term collaborator Steve Gilbert, who's been with me on this journey since I was 19, jumped on board. Rod jumped on board from the acoustic videos and a few other bits and pieces. And all of a sudden we had this like amazing little team that was sitting behind it. And so between us all, we basically organized this entire shoot, top to bottom, sets, everything. And then we spent, 2 days in the studio over Saturday and Sunday, 2 12-hour shoot days without pack up and set up, shooting these, 16 sets and 19 costume changes. It was just unreal and kind of crazy.
Yeah, definitely awesome. And like I said, definitely jealous in a good way that they got to do those shoots because it looks so much fun. Let's go ahead and play The Other Woman. And when we come back, we're going to hear more about your story.
Sounds great.
Around this fire, too scared to touch, but then too weak to fight it, and it still burns, but the truth still hurts. So here I am, lost between who I was and who I thought I'd never be, and it haunts just like a ghost inside. God knows you should hate you, and I should hate you too. But we both know there's something I could never do. Sometimes in the dead of night, I close my eyes and try to hide from what we've done and what I've become. A stranger I don't even know, waking up alone. When did I let go of the stronger me who just had to leave? I wanna be the other woman, not the one you know I've been. Wanna be the other woman I need me to be. Can't help but wish it was another time when you were free, then you'd be mine, and we might stand a fighting chance. But that's a dream we'll never share. This fairy tale is my worst nightmare. Can't ask you to give me all of you. I know what I gotta do, and you must know it too. We both know that's something we need to find the strength to do. Sometimes in the dead of night, I close my eyes and try to hide from what
Welcome back to Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. here with my special guest, Sammi Palinkas, and that is the other woman. We're having a good time talking about some of the fun stuff that she's done, and I want to, have a little bit more fun as promised. We're going to do the two truths and a lie right now. So, Sam, this is one of the favorite things that people enjoy about the podcast and finding out about the musicians because they get to play along at home. So if you would like to play, here's kind of how it works. You give me 3 statements. 2 of them are going to be true. 1 of them is going to be lie. You give them to me in any order. And then I'll try not to ask questions specifically to give it away. But by the end of the podcast, I'm going to have to guess on which ones are the truth and which ones are the lie.
Oh. I'm such a bad liar.
All right. Well, we'll give it a shot. So if you want to play, give me 3 statements. I'll write it down and we'll try guessing it. Go ahead.
Oh, gosh. All right. Here we go. Okay. When I was a kid, my nan used to put me up on the desk at the doctor's surgery and I would sing A Home Among the Gum Trees to anyone who would listen.
Home Among the Gum Trees.
Yeah.
All right. When you're low, go ahead.
I played my first country fair at 11 years old.
Okay.
I recorded my very first country song at the age of 19, but never ever pursued a career in country until recently.
To figure out is when you were little, including at the doctor's office and wherever you could, you were singing Home Among the Gum Trees to everybody. Yep. Your second one was you played your first country concert at age 11. And yes. You said first country song at 19. And so we got some little bit of different numbers in there, and we're going to have to try to figure that out. But, like I said, I'll try not to ask specific questions to that, but some of it may, line up with that. But I do know that at a young age, you were already starting to get into music in general. We'll leave it at that, whether it's country or not. Do you come from a musical family, or what interested you in music, and when did you find out, or how did you find out, I should say, so we don't give away the age, that you like doing this?
Yeah, so it's funny because my mum actually got me into theatrical dancing when I was a really young kid, and I was like maybe 2 or 3 when I started, and so I was dancing at such a young age, and singing kind of went past and parcel with that whole musical theater type, thing that kids do at that age. And so I think I had my first professional paid gig at the age of 6. It was an opening of a big market here in Victoria called Paran Market, and it was part of this dance group, and that was my first paid gig. And so it's kind of always been that thing that's been so natural to me. I've been on a stage since I can remember. Being on stage for me is the most natural thing in the world. It's it's a place where you rock off and you get to make people smile for as long as you're on there for, if that's what you want to do, or you evoke emotion in them, and seeing people leave entertained was something that I always really used to love. And I think it was at age 8 where Mum brought home this video for my sister for her birthday, and it had this singing competition, and the video was a VHS. It was Anastasia Sings Around the World was the competition, and Anastasia, the kids movie, was the actual video that she brought home. And so we had this competition. We entered me. It was like luck of the draw. As it turned out, the radio network here that ran it, which was one of our commercial radio networks, announced me as the state winner. So I was the Victorian winner and got flown to Sydney. And then I became the national winner. And it was on Channel 7 with 20th Century Fox, which was 20th Century Fox at the time. Sounded different, but and they actually flew my family and I to Paris because that was the first prize, all expenses paid. So that was, I think, the moment where I decided I really wanted just to sing. The dancing was something I found fun and I was still enjoying, but that was the point where I'm like, wow, the singing thing is something I really love. And so that was the point where I'd made that decision. I wanted to pursue that. But as I got older, I got into a lot of musical theatre professionally. I did Annie with Anthony Warlow, one of our big musical theatre stars here, when I was 11 years old, and a bunch of other musicals, did some TV. I started writing songs, I think, at the age of 13, and I had a couple of studio deals growing up. But when I was 19, I had my first real serious studio deal, singing in front of 25,000 people, I think it was, or thereabouts, at a Carol's actually here at Christmas time. And we had these big Christmas concerts called Carols by Candlelight here in Australia. And it was one of those. And someone in the audience owned a studio, rang the musical director and said, we'd like to record Sammi. She'd come down for an interview. And that was a 2-year deal that I then pursued. I then got taken to the States by a wonderful lady here, Fiona Kernigan, who's been in my corner since I was the tender age of 21. She took me over there. And when I first sat down with her and Tanya Kernigan, who's one of our, biggest Australian country music stars, we sat down for dinner, and Fiona was a rock pop writer over in LA at the time. And she said to me, she's like, maybe we should go write songs over watermelon martinis in the Beverly Hills Polo Lounge. And I went, that sounds like a great idea. I've just turned 21. Let's go. And so 6 weeks later, I was on a plane, which was insane. It became 3 years of my life traveling back and forth between LA and New York, and also later Nashville, writing with some wonderful people, everyone from Jeff Silber, who wrote Wind Beneath My Wings for Bette Midler, to Andrew Belucchi, who produced Old Town Road, the reboot for Billy Ray Cyrus and Lil Nas, and Round for Selena Gomez, and all of these wonderful, wonderful writers and producers. And I was so fortunate to do that for 3 or 4 years. And I think it was the last trip from there that I came back from. I actually fell really, really ill and got diagnosed with autoimmune disease. And so that kind of ended singing for me. I really didn't think that I would probably sing again after that. And 3 years later, after we finally got all of that to a managed state, which was a big journey to get to that point, I tried to come back. I released a couple of pop singles. I had changed as a person. I think that whole experience had really matured me in a way, but that's what I knew about music. And music had changed so much in that time. Streaming was there. That wasn't there before. I was doing all these, big things in the old way. This was a new way of doing everything. And so I kind of dabbled in that for a little bit. And then, I don't know, it just became hard at that point because I wasn't quite where I wanted to be. And then my life took off. I developed this other life when I was ill. I got into a long-term relationship. My corporate career took off, and life just took a really unexpected different turn. I think anybody that's taken a break from the music industry in their life would be able to tell you that it just naggles at you. It's just this little thing that sits in the back of your head. And if it's not fulfilled, it just doesn't go away. And so I kind of wanted to keep singing again, but I didn't know kind of how to get started. But I ended up singing again. And long story short, I got told that I didn't know it yet, that I was kind of going country. I'd started writing differently. My voice had changed. My tone had changed. And amazingly, when I had my studio deal when I was younger, I had the opportunity to go country, and I just never, ever kind of pursued it and went that way. So it was kind of like everything old is new again. I grew up on country music as a kid. It was always in my family. There was always country music playing at the time. And so it kind of felt quite natural for me to transition into that. And so I went to Nashville. I did everything backwards. I went to Nashville. I started working with some people. I came back. My wonderful friend Fiona introduced me to Lee Kernigan, Tanya Kernigan's producer, Rod McCormack. And Rod took me under his wing, and we started writing for my album at that point. And the rest is history. So it's been a lot of life in a short amount of time and a lot of experience. But for the first time, I think in my entire career, I feel like I finally found myself in music, and I'm the most at home that I've ever been in country in Australia. It's a really beautiful thing for me. So
yeah, that's great. And what a perfect time to play What This Woman Wants, especially that you know where you're headed and going now. So let's play that here on Hank's Corner.
You can pick me up in your shiny white Mercedes, bring me long stem roses with the cut off thorns. But I've never been one of those fancy ladies. I'll take a couple daisies and a vintage Ford. You're a Saturday night and I'm a lazy Sunday morning. Take the first shot of coffee over top shelf gin. For me it's kinda like a make or break warning. If you can't get to know me, I won't let you in. What this woman wants is more than you're given. What this woman wants might be more than you've got. If you can't bring the heat, then get out of the kitchen. Like it or not, you know there's no first prize for your second guessing. Life's too short to be messing around. And why shouldn't this woman get what this woman wants? the sunset gelato with someone who really gets me good. What this woman wants is more than you're given. What this woman wants might be more than you've got. If you can't bring the heat, then get out of the kitchen, like it or not. You know there's no first prize for your second guessing. Life's too short to be messing around. And why shouldn't this woman get what this woman wants? Is more than you're given. What this woman wants might be more than you've got. If you can't bring the heat, then get out of the kitchen, like it or not. You know there's no first prize for your second guessing. Life's too short to be messing around. And why shouldn't this woman get what this woman wants? What this woman wants.
Welcome back once again to Hank's Corner. Hank Jr. here with my special guest from Down Under, Sammi Palinkas, and you heard What This Woman Wants. Another fun song, fun video to watch. I was kind of watching that. That's where I kind of alluded to the knives and such, and nobody was hurt, right, during the production of that.
It was really funny because we shot the visualizer, which is, if anybody's seen it, all of the visualizers I've spoken about today are actually coming out on my YouTube channel as the songs get released. But the visualizer for this one was the orange, and I had like a frying pan that was on fire, a knife, and a bottle of champagne. I mean, what could go wrong, right? The only person that got stabbed with the knife during the filming was me at one point. I managed to stab myself with the knife, so no one else was injured. And the champagne glass, unfortunately, lasted only until the last take, where I kind of got really happy with my hands and sent it flying. But apart from that, no one was injured. But then when we were coming up, so with the idea for the music video, Bonnie, Jarrett, and I, who shot the original visualizer with me, we sat down, and I looked like such a crazy person in like the first video that we thought, oh, we kind of got to grab that and kind of just run with it, right? And just, make it even more crazy. And we thought, what could go wrong? Like, what else could we do, right? So we sat down, and if you haven't seen the music video, I'm basically a cooking show co-host. I'm a baker, which there's a lot of irony in that because I'm not the best cook. And so, which you'll see when I make a mess of the kitchen, that's like actually realistic of my life. And anyway, so I've got my wonderful co-host there and with me, and we get into all sorts of trouble in the kitchen. I have once again got the knife, but unfortunately I was not the one injured on this occasion. Someone else was injured. And I had to clean up the mess. So we had a great time, and we wanted to, I don't know if you've ever seen like a bunch of Kelsey Ballerini's music videos, but she did this video for If You Go Down, I'm Going Down Too at some point. And like, I love that video. And, Taylor Swift, Calm Down, Sabrina Carpenter, Taste. I know they're not all country, but, they had that real like satire element to it. And so when we set out to come up with the plot for What This Woman Wants, we wanted to kind of capture that like little bit sort of tongue in cheek, just fun satire, music video. So, and I think that's what we got. And we just wanted people to have fun when they were watching it because we had an absolute blast filming it.
Yeah, What This Woman Wants wasn't the first song that I had heard by you, but it was definitely the one that stuck with me. And I'm like, I love this person. I said, this one needs to be on my podcast because she is fun. Her music's great, but man, I can't stop watching those visualizers. I thought it was just so much fun. And who knows what's going to be coming out the rest of the year. Can't wait to see what you got going there. But let's get back to the two truths and a lie now. So now I'm going to figure out, like I said earlier, when you were little, you would go around everywhere, including the doctor's office, singing Home Among the Gum Trees to whoever will listen. And I'm sure that wasn't hard to get people to listen to you, but you played your first country concert at age 11, and you said your first country song at 19
Yes.
was what you had, brought out with. and
Uh-huh.
and I'm a little, thrown by the ages and everything. But here's what I'm going to say, just based upon what I know about you, is that I'm sure music was very natural for you. So you were going around singing that song to everybody who would listen. I'm going to say that your first country concert was not at 11, that's the lie, but the first song that you had come out with at 19 is the truth. And how am I doing?
Yeah, you did good.
Oh, okay. That was definitely a little tricky for me with the ages, but like I said, I mean, I could just imagine you as a little girl just running around like crazy because you're full of energy, and I don't think that's fake. I think that's natural, right?
No, look, it was funny. Steve Gilbert, who's on my team, and he's been part of all the visuals and everything. He's been on my journey for a very long time. I remember we were in LA once, and he once described me to an A&R exec as, she's got two switches on and off, and she's only off when she's sleeping, and that is very, very accurate.
So this is real, people. This is who she really is. So you're hearing it on Hank's Corner. Definitely fun to talk with and everything. And so we only got a couple minutes left, but one of the questions I like to ask, especially for people that are outside of our country, is what are some of the stereotypes that Americans have about your country that may or may not be true? Some of them are true, some of them may not. And then let's take it back the other way. You've been over here, so what are some of the stereotypes that you had coming to this country, and which ones were true and which ones weren't?
Oh gosh. Well, I remember when I was younger and I used to do the LA New York thing. I've been to Nashville, in the last couple of years, a couple of times as well. But when I was younger, I used to get asked a lot whether we rode kangaroos to school. Like that was a thing. Like, we don't ride kangaroos to school. I can tell you that. I can tell you if you swim in most of the oceans here, you will not get eaten by a great white shark, much to everybody's disappointment. Like generally doesn't happen. It's kind of a freak accident. Everybody's very aware that there are dangers in the ocean, but we do have some absolutely beautiful beaches here. So that was another one. Koalas are not cuddly. They look very, very cute, but they can be pretty vicious.
Yeah, that's the thing. You see, you talk about your animals down there, the kangaroo and koalas. They are cute little things, but yeah, they can be vicious. Although I did recently, I guess last year, and I don't remember exactly where it was. It may have been Kentucky. Got to go to this petting farm that had a bunch of kangaroos and wallabies, and some of them were big, some of them were little, but they were all very docile, of course. Otherwise, they wouldn't let you come in. All they cared about was getting the food that you would feed to them. So I haven't had to go through a boxing match with a kangaroo yet, and I hope to keep it that way. But they can be vicious animals. I know. Yeah.
They can. It's usually like like anything, right? If you prod something enough, it'll go you. And it's a bit like that. Most of the animals here, if they see you and you don't, you're not too fascinated with them, and you don't sort of poke them or prod them or invade their space, they'll just leave you alone. And they're lovely to look at, and they're really native to our country. They're beautiful creatures. But if you approach them the wrong way, they will get quite defensive and protective of their turf. So you just leave them alone and do your thing, and they do their thing, and then
and that goes for co-host Bake Show, too, right? You approach them the wrong way, absolutely. You got that knife and frying pan. So
don't get in my way.
And then, what were some of the stereotypes that you had about the USA that was true?
Oh gosh, well, nothing really. Like I love your accent, and I've always loved the accent. And weirdly, like when I used to walk into sessions, people would just get me to talk for ages because they loved my accent, which I found really funny. But there wasn't anything that was really stereotypically stood out to me. I mean, I've loved your country. It's a beautiful country that you have, and the people are just so warm and wonderful and embracing, and you have this really great culture of support. I don't think I've ever kind of come to the States and felt like, anyone was trying to cut me down or stop me from doing anything. It's just like, oh, wow, you're doing that. Like, let me help you. And so for me, it's always been like a really warm and fuzzy experience. I really find it strange that you put peanut butter and jelly together. Mainly might be because I'm allergic to peanut butter too. So
oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. I love peanut butter.
No, I miss out every time. But go
ahead.
I was going to say, I can't work out why you would put peanut butter and jelly together. Like, it just blows my mind in a way that I just can't function with. So,
Yeah, that's more of a kids thing. I think some adults still do it too. But I remember doing it as a kid, and I lean more towards the peanut butter. But that is one of the things that I always find that is common.
Yeah,
About stereotypes is with the United States and its food. And, I'm a big foodie and I always have to talk
yeah.
about food at least once on my podcast. So real quick, what are some of your comfort foods? What are your go-to foods? You said you can't cook, but what do you like eating?
Oh my gosh, so I'm allergic to a little bit. I'm a gluten intolerant, which is really unfortunate. I discovered that later in life. And I'm also anaphylactic to nuts, lentils, and chickpeas, which like rules out a whole stack of food groups. So beyond that, I cannot possibly be fussy because I wouldn't eat anything. But I do eat like a machine. Like I love food. And I remember, I think actually this is one thing that was stereotypically America when I landed. The size portions of like the food is huge. You know what I mean? And I think I landed like my first ever trip to LA, that trip when I was 21. I landed. It was like, I don't know, sometime in the morning, I'd stayed up, I'd gone to a function and somehow ended up, it was my very first Cheesecake Factory experience.
Yes.
And I ordered a burrito. Oh my gosh, the burrito was like a foot long and it was about that fat. And I was like, and now I can eat, right? Like for a little person, I put away a great deal and my friends are always fascinated with it. But like, I reckon I got through like a third of this burrito and I was like, felt like I could have, had like 2 meals in that. Like it was so big. And so that was like my very first food experience in America. But I love everything from like Japanese, Italian, Mexican, like there's so many cuisines I absolutely love. And oh my gosh, Nashville hot chicken, when I can eat that. Oh my gosh, I love Nashville hot chicken. So yeah, there's just so many things. And you guys make really great thick shakes, like chocolate thick shakes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It just makes me want to jump on a plane right now just to have one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, like I said, when we're recording this, it's evening for you, so you're probably not going to have any of this, but it's morning for me, and I'm starting to get hungry now, and got to figure out what I'm going to eat today after I talk it all about that. But
hot chicken. Nashville hot chicken.
that may be the way to go today. And I thank everybody for tuning in. Of course, we're talking with Sammi Palinkas here. Like I said, she's been all over the New Music Friday post on Hank's Corner with so many great songs coming out, including the most recent, The Lies I Told Myself. Be sure to check that out, and be sure to follow her on all the social medias. You can find her on our website, SammiMusic.com. Sammi spelled SAMMI. Be sure to check it out and tell her Hank Jr. Productions sent you. But, hopefully, I don't know when it's going to work out being so far away, but hopefully I get to see you perform soon. And, in the meantime, if you ever want to be a guest on Hank's Corner, you're more than welcome to.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I've got my very first major country music festival in Australia this year. So I'm really excited to be taking the stage at Savannah in the Round, which is like up in, we spoke about Brisbane earlier. It's further north than Brisbane, up in a place called Cairns, beautiful weather and stuff. So that should be, and I've got a couple of more shows planned at the end of this year. Nothing in America yet, but I am working on some things. So watch this space.
Your education, you might think you're fooling me. I won't give you more second chances, but I'll give you the 3rd degree. You always quote your fancy reading like it makes you better than the rest. Your pretty words lose all the meaning when I put them to the test. Did you really think I'd miss all the signs? Once you look, you cannot see what you'll find. I knew we were through when I saw the real you hiding your one eye. You've been stepping over the line. Now you're burning, trying to put out the fire. The hurt in the gray, things you didn't say was never black or white. Truth is love really ain't that hard. got nothing left to save you, not even your best fake smile. I'm looking for a new beginning. You're trying to find your way back in. You're still thinking that the sin is being caught, not what you did. Did you really think I'd miss all the signs? Once you look, you can't see what you'll find. I knew we were through when I saw the real you, hiding your one eye. You've been stepping over the line. Now you're burning, trying to put out the fire. The hurts in the gray, things you didn't say, was never black or white. Truth is love really ain't that blind. When you read between the lies, when you read between the lies. Did you really think I'd miss all the signs? Once you look, you cannot see what you'll find. I knew we were through when I saw the real you, hiding your one eye. You've been stepping over the line. Now you're burning, trying to put out the fire. The hurts in the gray, things you didn't say, was never black or white. Truth is love really ain't that blind. Truth is love really ain't that blind. When you read between the lines. She gets the love that I lost. She gets the promise I never got. She gets the roses, I pull the weeds. She gets all the things I told him I need. I watched someone make up his ex. Never dreamed I would be next. Thought I'd be the last girl to ever hold him tight. Thought I'd be the one he'd come home to at night. Thought I'd be the last girl to ever hear him say I love you at the end of each and every day. Forever came and went so fast. I'm not the first one he's left in the past. I'm just the last girl. She's got the future, I'm yesterday's news. I've already lost what she stands to lose.